Drink beer. Think beer. You're listening to Brew Bloods.
Whoever drinks beer, he is quick to sleep. Whoever sleeps long does not sin. Whoever does not sin enters heaven. Thus, let us drink beer. Episode 95 of Brew Bloods.
You're always so religious.
Very religious.
Yeah.
I'm constantly nailing things to the front of church doors. That's from
true.
Martin Luther. Did I not say that? That's from Martin Luther.
Yeah, and you just, no, you didn't say who it was from,
Yeah,
actually.
Martin Luther. Not Martin Luther the King,
Yeah.
but the original Martin Luther.
Not Martin Luther Vandross?
Yeah, not Martin Luther Vandross either.
Yeah.
The mashup
Right.
of Martin Luther and Luther Vandross.
It's like a Two-Face situation where they're half and half.
Yeah. That should be the next Two-Face, the next Batman.
Exactly.
Half Luther Vandross, high voice, and
Right.
half religious nut.
Yes.
Welcome to episode 95 Brew Bloods. My name is Marc, joined by Dustin, my constant companion.
And joined by a good friend all around us.
Yeah, we are joined by a good friend. Not
All of
good
the,
friends, just one friend.
All of the noise and all of the activity you hear, that comes from our local eatery.
Because we are, once again, at Good Friend, our home away from home.
Where else do we go?
Our
Pretty much, ever since your wife kicked me out of your house for podcasting,
Yeah.
we pretty much go to my backyard or we come here.
That's right.
That's about all we do.
It's our carousel of charcuterie, our burger bodega.
I need to get back in her good graces, so I'm allowed in the house again.
It won't happen.
I don't know what I need to do, but we'll try to figure it out.
There will be no peace
No. Okay.
in that relationship.
Fair enough.
So today we've got a very special episode, and we're going to get to the meat before
special.
We're going to get to the meat before we get to the potatoes first, because people are here. They want to hear the interview we've got coming up with Fred Rizzo, the head brewer of Avery Brewing out of Colorado.
That is the tasty, delicious meat.
It is the tasty, the filet mignon,
savory.
the medium rare filet mignon.
Yes.
The
mouth-watering
tenderloin
bits.
That's right. The Kobe steak,
Right.
grass
The Wagyu
fed
beef of the episode.
The Wagyu beef, lotions rubbed into it every day.
This is what they tune in to hear
Yeah.
our analogies
Yeah.
of meat.
All right, they tuned in for our descriptions of how we massage Fred Rizzo into getting an interview.
Absolutely.
Because I did
Well, you
once I
massaged
got there.
him,
Yes, I took him out to the grass plains in Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, and I rubbed lotions and butter into him. And finally, he agreed to do an
And
interview.
lots of meat.
Yes, I rubbed him with raw
Did
meat
you rub
as well.
it with Kobe steaks?
Of course, I fed him lots of raw meat.
That's how we've gotten everyone else. That's
Yeah.
how we got Pedicolis on. That's how
Yeah,
Win Bims. It was all about steak.
it's a very good. It's how we secure so many good interviews in the show.
Yeah. The guy
so-
came down from Founders
That's
just
right.
because he knew about
just
the steak.
he knew we would rub him with raw meat.
Yeah, exactly.
And butter. So I went to Colorado. We went there to check out the state of Colorado, see if maybe someday we might want to live there.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the review of Colorado itself later, specifically Denver later. But when it comes to Avery, I got really lucky, and I felt very #blessed.
And he also went and interviewed people from Avery.
I did.
He got lucky, then did that.
Yeah, felt #blessed to be given this interview by Avery. It was pretty awesome. I drove with my wife, your constant enemy.
Yes.
She went to Denver that day and hung out with her friend in Denver, and so I headed up to Boulder, which was about 45 minutes away, nestled in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. Beautiful, beautiful drive.
Okay.
And I went to the Avery campus out there. It's out in Boulder, and it's kind of out on the outskirts of Boulder. It seems like, because I didn't seem to go into Boulder proper.
You don't realize if you did?
I don't think I did. Otherwise
Boulder's really tiny.
I'm say otherwise Boulder's just a popcorn fart in Denver that
Right.
we've been deceived into believing how big it is.
What is a popcorn fart exactly?
It's a small tiny fart
Oh, okay.
that smells delicious. It smells like popcorn. So I just want to say it's a great interview.
Yeah.
Fred was great. I spent a little time. I got there early, so I walked around the campus. They have kind of a self-guide. You can take
That's
the
a
brewery
pal.
tour,
Yeah.
or you can just walk around however you want to throughout the brewery. So that was cool. If you want to see some video I shot, I should, within a couple of days of this airing, put up some video of walking around the brewery and a little bit of Fred. I had the last-minute inspiration, as in our lightning round, to take some video, which I should have done the entire time, but I'm an idiot, so I didn't do that.
It's a new thing.
But, I mean, the nice thing was they gave me this employee armband, so I got all the beer I wanted.
Did you suckle a tap?
I did. I suckled
Okay.
directly from the Uncle Jacob tap.
That makes sense. It's kind of like what we did in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
With their the one stout they had on tap.
Yeah.
When everyone else hated it and left, we're like, we're just going to go ahead and drink this keg.
Keep on pouring.
And we almost did.
If you want to hear about Denver and about the beers I drank at Avery, we'll do that after the Fred Rizzo interview. But
those are the potatoes, Mark.
those are the potatoes.
Yeah.
And the desserts. Not a great dessert, but a dessert nonetheless. So I just want to say thanks to
It's like
all
a dry
the
flan or something.
thanks to everybody at Avery. They were awesome, very welcoming.
Yeah.
Gave me a beer straight away. Didn't charge me for anything, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And thanks to Fred for spending a good amount of time with me out on the patio of Avery Brewing. So today I'm at Avery Brewing Company, part of Boulder, Colorado. Are you properly in Boulder or are you outside of Boulder?
We are technically in Boulder. This is Gun Barrel, but it's still very much a Boulder address, just kind of an association of North Boulder.
So what are you drinking today? I'm drinking the new Tequila Cervus.
Oh, excellent.
Is
Yeah,
it Cerberus or
great choice.
Cerbus?
I think it's, yes, Cerberus.
Cerberus, yeah.
Honestly, I lose track. I'm drinking Joe's Pilsner, one of my favorites. Back on tap today, and pretty excited about it. So, diving back into some Joe's. Always a great go-to. One of my favorite beers that we make. So,
and I should mention, I didn't introduce you. This is Fred Rizzo, head brewer at Avery Brewing. So the Tequila Service, this was actually, you guys tweeted us, I think it was yesterday or somebody. Somebody was asking for something to be brought to Alaska or something like that on Twitter, and we were part of that tweet storm or whatever. And they were mentioning that this one's about to be released. So I'm kind of curious as far as following beer trends. How do you guys, I mean, sours are obviously like an up-and-coming genre, have been for a little bit. How do you guys decide when to pivot, and how hard is that to change at a brewery, the craft brewery of this size?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we kind of have our staples. We have the raspberry sour, which is kind of what we're trying to be a continual release throughout the year. Kind of moving a little further away from the seasonal aspect with that and having it available at all times. But really, it's we kind of just sit around in the R&D meeting and we brainstorm what we kind of think might be interesting, what we feel like drinking, and also obviously what we think people are looking for. So we kind of try to break the barriers quite a bit, and tequila barrels have been a pretty cool approach for us. We kind of latched onto that pretty hard. I mean, I think we have one of the larger inventories of tequila barrels in the industry, and they definitely they bring some pretty interesting profiles to the table. Obviously, fresh bourbon barrels are delicious. We do a lot with rum barrels, fresh wine, but kind of diving into the fresh tequila barrel has been fun for us. So we've kind of been sticking that for a little while. Obviously, the majority of our sours are still in wine barrels, but just something different and something fun.
Yeah, it's nice to see, because I know a few years ago there was a bourbon barrel shortage, and so it seemed like that motivated people, especially some of the smaller guys who had a harder time getting a hold of those bourbon barrels, to kind of diversify and try something else. So one of our local brewers in Dallas, Liquid, they did a tequila IPA a couple years ago. It was a very limited release, but they started trying to do, and then them and Deep Elma branched out into Cabernet barrels and stuff like that. So I think it kind of motivated people to try to find other barrels to experiment with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just fun for us just to kind of branch out and try new versions. I mean, we do stuff with Scotch barrels and port barrels, and we just kind of try to branch out and see what works. But yeah, we're getting truckloads of 300 plus bourbon barrels at a time.
Wow.
We have a pretty good lock on those through Rocky Mountain Barrel Company, which they've been great for us. And so bourbon barrels are kind of easy to come by, I suppose, just maybe based on our size and the amount that we purchase. But it's fun to still branch out and try something new. So we're sitting here just outside the tap room. Does it act as, when you guys come up with a new idea, do you pilot it here first and see how it sells before you decide to mass market something like the tequila service? Not really. We kind of just go for it. Yeah, just see what sticks. Yeah, we get a general idea of what we want to do, and we kind of commit to it and make it as well as we can, and hope the public understands what we're trying to do, which sometimes they do, and sometimes, I mean, we're not guaranteed every time, but it's just a fun experimental process on our end, and we actually, our pilot system is our 100 hectoliter brew house, so we don't have a small volume to give these a whirl with, and we just kind of go for it. But we have a pretty good idea of what we're shooting for with the end product, and hopefully it works out.
I was looking at your website, and I noticed, so you're the head brewer, and you have 3 special projects brewers. Are they underneath you, or are they sort of parallel to you?
Not technically. I mean, I'm responsible for all of our wort production, and I'm in the R&D meetings, and I do process development and contract all of our raw materials. So special projects are, something that a handful of us collaborate on. It's kind of a separate entity, but a collaborative approach for sure. So it's definitely influenced what were the end result in making some of their fun ideas actually work in a production environment.
Right.
But we all kind of sit around the table and do some ideation. So it's kind of everything under one umbrella, but I'm by no means dictating what they do on a daily basis. So
you don't have, do you have like the final yes or no on a project? Like they say we want to do something wild and crazy?
Not really. Honestly, it really is a collaborative approach, and there is a special projects manager, and then we have obviously Andy Parker, who's been a lead barrel herder for many years, and I've been here for over 10 years, and it was our barrel department was him and I alone for over 2 years, and it's obviously grown to the beast that it is today. But it is definitely a collaborative effort, and it's mostly hashed out in our R&D meetings.
Right.
Kind of the projects we're going to pursue, and then we have a separate meeting. So my day is mostly consisting of meetings, of process development, and that's kind of where only 5 of us sit down at a table and actually figure out how to actually make these beers. So it's fun to come up with the idea and have a bunch of fun new ideas floating around, but they have to also function with our brewery, and that doesn't come easily. So there's that aspect of it, which is pretty key, because you can come up with all the ideas that you can, but if they can't be processed in your facility, then they kind of don't mean anything. But Is there a beer, like a wild and crazy beer, that you wanted to do but you couldn't make work in the brewery that you really wanted to do? Honestly, we haven't found one yet.
Yeah.
we have some pretty fun equipment to do some pretty wild stuff. So we haven't come up with that yet. Although I know it's out there, and we'll find it.
Yeah, you'll find your limit eventually.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to go back. Like, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Vermont.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep. A great craft brewing industry there, and I still think to this day we have the most craft breweries per capita.
Yeah.
Which is because we beautifully have no people who live there. That's why I love it so much. And my dad was a huge wine nerd, turned craft beer guy. So I just, well before legal drinking age, which obviously I may have had a few beers before that. We only had craft beer in the fridge, and still to this day, we have a little bar downstairs, and it's constantly tapped with delicious New England craft beers. And I've just kind of always been exposed to the craft beer realm, and that kind of was my stepping stone to realize that this is something that I had really appreciated and loved. And I went to school for business, so not related necessarily to the brewing industry, but is now, I guess, in my current position. But just always loved craft beer.
There was how old are you, by the way?
I am 33.
Okay, so you weren't around when homebrewing became legal, obviously.
Yeah.
In the late 70s.
Exactly.
We did an interview with an author, Tim Mattson, who was around back then, back when homebrewing was still illegal, and he talked about all the crazy stuff they used to put into their beers, like bark from trees and stuff like that, and get really, really crazy with it. And he has such a fondness for that era. He's like, I don't drink any mainstream craft beer anymore. I still just make all my own. He's still way into that. He has a book of like kind of crazy homebrewing stories from back then before it became legal.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and he was up in Vermont as well.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it was definitely, I feel like, one of these pioneer states of the craft beer movement back in the day, and it's been fun to watch develop. But I'm still not afraid to drink 37 Coors Originals either.
Yeah.
They're absolutely delicious.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of, I think it's kind of key to understand the whole process to appreciate what some of the bigger guys are doing as well.
Well, I think it's impressive that I mean, as long as they've been around, they obviously have it down pat. But to be able to continually produce the same product consistently, that many units you're selling, I mean, it's admirable in its own way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's by far the biggest challenge that any brewery has is creating consistent beer, and to do it at that scale is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I talked to one of their tasters once, and everybody thinks, well, I'd love to be a craft beer or a beer taster, but she's like, and she worked for Coors or somebody, and she was like, you can't believe how boring it is at this point. It's just you're tasting the same Coors Light over and over again, batch after batch, just to make sure it tastes all right.
Yeah, definitely part of our sensory department as well, and it's a little more exciting with us when we have a bunch of different beers going through, and it's not the same beer every single time. But
so, what brought you west to Colorado?
It's a great question. Nothing in particular.
Yeah.
Just kind of wanted to. I had grown up and gone to school exclusively in New England, and which I love to death. But my now wife and I just kind of wanted to switch it up a little bit and see what was going on out here, and flew out right after graduation and kind of toured around and realized this would probably be pretty all right, and ended up making the move, and it's been almost 11 years to this point, and it's still doing pretty great.
Was Avery your first job out of school?
It was.
Wow, I
started here when I was 22.
That was in 2006, right?
That was in 2006. Yeah, when I was just not that much has changed, but a spillover drunk from college and wanted to work in the brewing industry, and they were stupid enough to bring me on, and so obviously started in packaging. Worked for over a year in packaging, transitioned into the brew house, and at that time there was so few of us. It was brew house and cellar operations were one fluid department, and then went into brew house cellaring and barrel aging, and then obviously at the same time we were all warehousing, and we would rotate into the tap room, and when there was under 15 of us and now there's over 200 of us, we did everything just to make it work, and so I've seen all aspects of the process, and fell in love with brewing, obviously, and kind of moved up from there, and now I sit behind a desk and stare at a computer all day. Yeah.
That's so. In that time, other than size, obviously, and distribution, all that, I mean, how have you seen, and I also want to talk about how you became head brewer, that whole process, but how have you seen Avery change in the 11 years you've been here, other than just size?
I mean, it's changed a lot. Not necessarily in any sort of bad way, but like I said, I think when I started there were 12 of us in the entire company. That's including owners and salespeople. There's over 200 now. So besides the obvious increase in the general size of the business, that's probably the biggest thing. We've just kind of had to grow up a little bit, and we had to become much more safe because we were a little bit crazy in the early stages, and that's not good for anyone. And,
right.
But
it can be exciting, but also unstable.
Yeah, you always want to be on the brink of death when you're brewing.
Right. Exactly.
So, it's been great. I mean, we obviously have grown a ton, but the passion for quality beer and what we kind of consider beer that is hopefully pushing the limits has never been lost, and we're still producing beers that we're passionate about, and that's kind of the core culture of Avery of making the best beer that we can has never been lost. So that's been pretty huge.
Do you, as head brewer, I don't know who was head brewer before you, but do you have your own brewing philosophy, and does it differ from? Was it Adam Avery? Was he the head brewer before you, or was it somebody else?
No, it was technically Matt Thrall.
Okay.
Who's now the production manager at Left Hand.
Okay.
I learned a lot from him. He was a priceless mentor. So I think we all kind of grew up at Avery and had a similar philosophy, and it was always quality and consistency first, and that's my main thing. We all know we have to pay the bills, and every single beer that we make isn't necessarily something I we want to drink on a daily basis,
Sure.
and that by obviously no means makes it a bad beer. It's just we need to be pushing the boundaries and making beers thinking of our customer base, which is usually looking for fun, experimental, kind of boundary breaking beers, and that's definitely key for us. But I certainly by no means impose any sort of strict brewing philosophy. Again, it's
right.
a very collaborative
right.
process through a handful of us throughout the entire process. So there is no one person who's setting the standards for Avery beer, and which I think makes it what it is. I mean, that's when you have one person who's dictating every single style, then that you're going to initially. I mean, that could be a little caustic for any brewery, I think. But
yeah, well, and then that kind of translates into being a dictator. I read somewhere that Adam said that he had 2 rules for his employees: is 1, don't be a dick, and 2, make your coworkers' lives easier. Yep. So what does that mean? I mean, other than just the collaborative nature, what does that mean at Avery? Yeah,
I mean, that kind of sums it up. It's just...
so it is what it is, huh?
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, no one's better than the next person. Brewers aren't special. Yeah. The warehouse and packaging staff and cellar, I mean, it takes all of us to produce and distribute the beer to our customers in the fashion that we want to, and that's not dictated by brewers, and it's not dictated by the cellar or packaging alone. It's a collaborative effect of all departments creating one particular product, and
right.
That's key for us. So I mean, it's don't be a dick, meaning don't think you're better than anyone else, and make everyone's job easier, meaning if I walk down the hallway and I see trash on the ground, I'm not going to walk past it thinking someone else is going to pick it up. I'm going to obviously pick it up myself, or grab a broom or a mop or whatever it takes, and make everyone's job easier, because ultimately when everyone's job is quote unquote easier, then the best quality beer is produced, and everyone is not only making the best product they can, but having the most fun and in the least stress environment they can. So
you mentioned earlier, like, most of your day, it seems to consist mostly of meetings. Are you back at this point? I know, obviously, the smaller guys, they work 7 days a week sometimes, and they may work 7 to 9, something like that. Are you down to the point where you can work on just a regular 40-hour schedule, or is it still you're out promoting all the time?
Yeah, it's that's another pretty great thing about Avery. I mean, obviously not for all departments. We have pretty obviously strict schedules for the production side, but I have a pretty free schedule where I know what needs to be done and do that accordingly. I don't need to clock in at any sort of particular time, but it's Monday through Friday. I've got a wife and 2 children, so they also need,
give them
as much
attention
as I
too.
love beer, they need a little attention here and there. So that's the work-life balance is huge, and
right.
we try to accommodate that for everyone here.
So tell me about your path from starting out your first job fresh out of college to becoming head brewer. I mean, what all positions did you hold, and I guess just tell me about your journey to getting where you are now.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, started when I was 22, fresh out of college, interviewed, somehow got the job, maybe seemed enthusiastic, and clearly loved beer, and so started on the packaging line, did that for well over a year, just strictly packaging every single day. So I obviously have a very intimate knowledge of packaging and what it takes and why it's so important. From there, I transitioned to the brew house, and at that point, it was brewing and cellaring were two of the same positions. So it was brewing, and then brewing a few days a week, cellaring, cleaning tanks, racking beers, filtering beers. So it was the full clarification process, the whole spiel. Did that for almost 5 years, and then within that time transitioned into the kind of the main trainer for new brewhouse hires, and then became our brewhouse manager. Did that for a couple of years, and then transitioned out of that into my current head brewer position, where as counterintuitive as it seems, I do zero brewing now. which seems to be kind of standard for that title, which is kind of silly, but many years of brewing experience, obviously, and so now it's mostly administrative stuff. I have one direct report, which is our current brewhouse manager. Still ultimately responsible for wort production, and but more is living in the future, contracting raw materials, process development, R&D, stuff like that. We have a great brewhouse manager who's the first report for our physical brewers who are brewing beer every single day. So kind of one person removed even from that, but him and I work really closely together and try to make that work as seamlessly as we can. But yeah, so I've definitely seen all the processes of beer production through many years, and So
where do you want to go from here? Seems like you're almost at the top of a pyramid, especially of such a large craft brewery. I mean, do you ever have dreams of starting your own brewery? I know like 3 employees started several years ago. They left and started their own brewery. Called Arms.
Yeah, go to Called Arms, by the way, as much as you can. It's a phenomenal beer, and they're very, very close friends of mine still.
Yeah.
I don't. Who knows? But right now, I have a pretty good thing going here.
Just being able to work a 40-hour week in craft brewing is its own feat.
Yeah,
and
exactly. It took a long time.
Yeah,
You got to put your nose to the grindstone and take control and figure out what you want to do and just make it happen. So, right now it's everything's good, and it's hard to ask for too much more. So.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
I have a just over 4-year-old daughter and just under 2-year-old son.
So not quite into beer yet.
No, although they most certainly maybe mistakenly take sips every now and then. Yeah. Unbeknownst to me, even though they might be in my hand.
You ever have other family in brewing, or is it just you?
No, it's just myself.
Yeah.
It's just me.
Think your kids? Do you have any inclination that maybe one of them or both of them will follow you into brewing?
Maybe. We'll see. I'm gonna. I don't know. Maybe push something where they can. When none of us are in brewing to get rich.
Yeah.
It's whatever they're happy to do, and there's no doubt that they're not going to be surrounded by beer their entire life.
Yeah.
So they might just get sucked into it. I think both kids within 3 days of being on this planet were at Avery at the tap room, and so they, from the day they were born, essentially they know craft beer. So.
It's a nice thing about craft brewing is they generally tend to be familial environments where families always welcome kids. Dogs, as we can see here.
It would be fun to see them go into the industry.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that I'll at least make them scrub floors and learn how to use a squeegee. So.
Make them a tank wipe at like 14.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm kind of interested from a business perspective. You guys are obviously one of the larger craft brewers, and we've seen, especially in Dallas, a lot of acquisitions from AB InBev and Coors. So I have to imagine Adam's been approached thousands of times about being acquired. What's your thoughts on the acquisitions, first of all? And I have to doubt that Avery would ever, Adam would ever sell, but.
It's a great question. We most certainly have been approached many times. Adam's just, he's dedicated to keeping this a family business. It's him and his father, Larry, and that's kind of what we've committed to as a company, which I think is great. Although I don't fault any business for selling as well, and I would never call it selling out, because I think that's kind of an ignorant approach to what is actually happening. If you need a little more cash influx to increase your quality or increase your distribution channels or whatever it may be, I think that's nothing to be looked upon in a negative fashion. I think you see a lot of these businesses who are getting bought, and I think they're being acquired for the quality that they're producing, and I feel like the businesses who are buying them are smart enough to not mess with that and keeping their current employees employed and just really kind of supporting the culture that made the company that they're buying that successful, and keeping the beer the same quality, if not better, because they have an unlimited bank account at this point.
Yeah, that's one thing. We talked to Todd Tebow over Breckenridge, and we had asked them, they were purchased by Coors, I think it was, and asked them how's it been since you've been acquired, because I guess it's been roughly over a year. And he said it's been nothing but great, that they've met no resistance, no restrictions. They said keep making the product, and here's a truckload of money to go do things.
Yeah.
They did a cross-country tour. And same thing with Goose Island. Now that they've got the big money, they're also going to do a culture tour across the U.S. here in a couple months.
Yep.
But
personally, I don't know. I have a hard time looking at that in a negative fashion. I just hope that I trust that they made the decision for the right reason, and hopefully that's ultimately for at least maintained or improved quality and a larger footprint. And obviously, at that point, it doesn't really cut into the macro brewers percentage anymore, because they're kind of owned by them. So that's that. It's always fun to see craft brewing kind of cut into that margin as much as we can. But as long as the quality doesn't decrease, I really have nothing negative to say about it. Again, it's all about quality and consistency to me, and hopefully that's only increased by these acquisitions. But
that's something we've always felt the same way. Dustin and I, the guy who podcasted with me back in Dallas, we've always felt the same way. As long as you're maintaining your same craft beer quality and the spirit and all that jazz, then I
mean, if they come in and clean house and fire every single person, then that's a bit of an issue.
Which I think we've seen in some cases. And I think it was at Elysian where several of the executives left in a dispute because they didn't want to sell out.
Sure,
and I mean, it's a big upheaval, but it's nice to see that some of them are at least keeping that quality.
And again, it's to each their own, man. I mean, it's can't fault them either way. So.
I don't begrudge somebody making money either. I mean, you get into the business not to fail and be constantly, thriving on the margins. You gotta, you want to make a profit ultimately, live a comfortable life. So,
like I said, none of us are in this to get rich, but maybe that one day you get the opportunity to live pretty well. It's tough to. I mean, you built the business. It's up to you. That's your decision, and can't fault them for that. So
I can't imagine when somebody backs up a truck of money how hard it is to resist that.
Yeah, Ballast Point. You can't. If you refuse $1 billion, then you're an idiot.
If you're ensuring the future generations, your future generations, they're going to live comfortably, then it's hard to begrudge that. So
exactly.
Financially speaking, Colorado is obviously on the forefront of marijuana legalization, and they've obviously made a boatload of money. Have you seen? Because I know some people in other states, other craft brewers, are particularly resistant to that being legalized because they're worried for their own profits and margins. Have you seen that in Colorado? Have your sales been affected at all? I mean, you guys are obviously way more national than some of the smaller guys, but have you seen that, especially here in Colorado, be affected at all, or Washington State?
Seeing our business affected?
Yeah, have you seen your business affected at all by maybe consumers are trading one product for another?
No.
Or they're just going hand in hand?
At all. I mean, being in a beautiful legal state of marijuana, it's hard to pair something better than some beautiful weed with a delicious craft beer, right? So.
That's what I've always thought. It's like I think some people just worry too much. I think
no
it probably
cannibalization, though. I mean, I would say it's the opposite, if anything.
I would say it seems like it would increase, given how much your willpower goes down. It seems like it would probably just increase sales.
Sure, yeah. I mean, if you're going to take especially out-of-state people, if you come to Colorado specifically to buy recreational weed, then chances are you're probably of the same mindset who's going to visit a handful of craft breweries.
Right. Yeah.
So they kind of go hand in hand, and they're both beautiful things, in my opinion.
So, last question for the lightning round here. I know you got to get out here shortly, but
no worries.
Josh over at the Interbrews podcast, they're based out of Houston. He wanted me to ask you maybe how you and other Colorado brewers in general and Mass feel about Texas beer, because you guys are a much more mature craft beer scene than Texas is. It's only been in the last few years that we've started to explode. So how do you guys feel, and how do you feel in particular about Texas beer?
I don't really have. I've actually never really thought about it in particular, to be honest. We have a handful of friends down there. I mean, Real Ale, they make phenomenal beer. I think it's a great. Texas is our third best market.
Okay.
Colorado, SoCal, Texas are the top three.
Okay.
So we appreciate the business and the love for craft beer there. I mean, I think there's a lot there's a huge market there.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of turning around, and it's a huge state with a huge population, and I think craft beer is getting a better stronghold there, and I think it's great. Honestly, I'm not as tuned in to the newest Texas craft breweries that there are, I'm sure, but I can't even keep track of what's happening in Denver, and that's 2 miles down the road.
I think we have so many breweries opening up now. I think one thing we found is that we're lacking tap space.
Yeah.
There's just not enough taps because there's so many new guys coming on the scene all the time now.
Yeah.
And this is a question. So Stone a few months ago had to lay off a bunch of people in California, and then they conversely went to open their Berlin brewery because they saw sales declining, here in the States, and they thought, well, and we can open up a new market in Europe. So have you guys seen, have you seen any sales decline like Stone has, or are you guys fairly nimble financially to be able to survive things like that?
We definitely haven't seen any sales declines.
Yeah.
We're trying to grow responsibly, and with the addition of Cellar 3 here to our left and your right, we've got about 150,000 barrels of current capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a couple years to grow into that, which creates some flexibility. We have a total capacity of about 350,000 barrels here once the full build-out is complete. So we can just keep putting in banks of 10 800 hectoliter tanks to the north of us.
You guys opened this facility in 2015, is that right? 14?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, 2015, yeah. So, we came from the quote-unquote alley, which we always refer to it as, and it was an undisputed hole, and we all love it for that.
Yeah.
We're pretty happy where we are. We're brewing beer in a facility made to brew beer, so that's fun. So we're definitely dialing in efficiencies and just trying to make as much beer as efficiently as we possibly can right now. And we see pretty steady growth. I think we were up. I think it was about 20% last year. Okay. We're still cranking away.
Awesome. It's good to see.
We have no plans on slowing down, but we're also just going to keep producing the beer that kind of we ultimately want to drink and what we think, what we hope the market wants to buy, and we'll see where that brings us. So we're gonna hopefully always stick to our guns and make the beer that we think and hope everyone will appreciate, and that will get us as big as we possibly can.
So we talked about the tequila service, which is about to be released nationwide, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what else do you have coming down the pike that you can talk about, that you're allowed to talk about at this point?
That's a good question. We just finished the first production batch of coconut porter. We did the last coconut dosing yesterday. So that beer has been in the works for over 2 years. We're pretty excited to release that. Just a big fresh bourbon barrel-aged coconut porter.
Seems to be an increasing style across the states.
So. Yeah, absolutely. So, this is locally toasted, delicious coconut, awesome fresh bourbon barrels, great base porter, balanced really well. It's a fun beer.
How long does that have to age for?
What's that?
How long does it age in the barrels?
It was aged for, I think we're right around the 4 to 6 month range.
Okay.
I believe.
All right, and then the tequila service is a tequila barrel sour.
Yep.
And it's barrel aged also, right?
Oh yeah. That's 100% tequila barrel aged Suerte.
Oh yeah, well I guess that makes sense.
Yep.
That was a stupid question.
No worries. Boy, we have so many weird. I feel like I just honestly can't keep track of them all at this point. We got a bunch of fun stuff, but the biggest thing is coconut porter. We've got. We'll be transitioning from another barrel in botanical. We're going to be doing a ginger sour as well.
As I saw one, there was a ginger-based beer I saw in your cooler over here. What was that? That was the Double D.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was kind of supposed to be a like a whiskey ginger type of thing. This will be quite a bit different. It'll be a neutral barrel sour with ginger.
Okay.
Which I think I'm a huge fan of ginger, so I think it's delicious. It'll kind of go hand in hand with the apricot sour. Should be fun. That's going to be kind of another big release. And then we've got a handful of brewery-only 200 to less than 200 case releases in the brewery alone. And we're always, I don't know, we make it too hard on ourselves. Yeah. We always have something weird going on.
All right, so let's get to the lightning round here. So what was your first beer?
First beer in general?
Yeah, your first beer.
Oh, boy. First beer was probably... Actually, I know exactly what it was. I think I was probably 14 in rural Vermont. My buddy's dad was a religious Rolling Rock drinker, and we stole a few Rolling Rocks and went up the hill to the Sugar Shack, where the parents were not around, and we chugged a Rolling Rock. And it was, I think, as terrible then as I think it is now. But it was still glorious.
Yeah.
And, from there, I mean, it kind of transitioned to an aggressive amount of Bud Heavies in high school.
Yeah.
And then... whenever we could afford some delicious Vermont craft beers from there. But
what was your first craft beer?
It was Long Trail Ale.
Never heard of it.
Alt-style ale from Vermont, Bridgewater Corners.
Are they still around?
Oh yeah, they're 200,000+ barrels a year. New England distribution only. They might go a little south at this point, but glorious beer when it's fresh. Otter Creek Stovepipe Porter, McNeil's from down south there, and a bunch of delicious stuff. When I was in high school and college, we didn't have the heady toppers and all that delicious stuff that we have now. That didn't really exist, but still good for our time, kind of groundbreaking craft beers. So I mean, mostly it was more of an approach of this has alcohol in it. That's pretty awesome.
Let's drink that.
Yeah, let's drink that. And it worked out. It stopped since.
So do you have your dad? Does he send you heady topper still, or do you have him send you heady topper? It's a delicious beer.
It is a delicious beer. It is. Every now and then.
Yeah.
Yep. It is quite good.
Yeah,
it's quite good.
It was. I was surprised that it lived up to the hype.
Yeah, it's tasty. I mean, now we have Hill Farmstead, and Sean is crushing it. We tried it. We do our damnedest to get a 6-barrel tapped in the bar downstairs at home, and that's proved challenging. But as much as we can. I mean, it's fun to see breweries like that coming up. I mean, Sean, I don't know if you've been to Hill Farmstead, but he's way up in the Northeast Kingdom, and he's out there, and he committed to it. It's pretty awesome.
Cool.
So, I mean, they're doing great stuff, and I love the Vermont craft beer name right now is pretty exciting for me. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Your 11 years you've been here, what's the beer you're most proud of that you made?
Oh, that's a great question.
And then conversely, is there one that you were not so happy with that you ended up hating?
Sure. I mean, there's got to be both of one of those. I kind of definitely pride ourselves in being our worst critics and always trying to modernize and make the best beer that we can. So we're always kind of in pursuit of that type of beer.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, Vanilla Bean Stout right now is one of my favorite beers we've ever made. Obviously, a handful of our one-off barrel aging stuff has been great. I've been drinking an insane amount of our just regular IPA right now.
Mm-hmm.
Our 24th anniversary beer that will be hitting the market soon is one of my favorite IPAs we've ever made, and that's going to be pretty exciting. It's hard to name one, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then, worst beer. I mean, sure, we should we've certainly, every beer we've ever made certainly hasn't been good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can necessarily think of one beer that I would never drink again.
Yeah. Any failures where you ended up dumping?
Oh yeah, of course.
A ton.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're not afraid. I mean, it's not common, but we're not afraid to dump beer. As I said, we're our own worst critics. So if it doesn't meet our standards, we're not afraid of calling up a tanker and shipping it off. And
yeah, that's what we've seen with some of the smaller craft brewers is they go ahead and package it even when it's terrible.
Yeah.
They're afraid of losing, the financial loss. Obviously, you're in a much better position here than they are, but
financially, I can see where they're coming from. But as a long-term move, I think it's going to hurt people. I mean, you got to build your name on quality, and I think the biggest issue that we're going to be seeing coming up in the industry is a lack of consistency and quality. And and I love how prosperous the industry is, but I feel like it may have attracted some people just looking at the bottom line and don't necessarily know how to
make good beer,
produce and package quality beer that can stand the test of time. And ultimately, I think that's going to hurt the industry. It's all going to shake out and everyone's going to be fine, but that's in my opinion, our biggest hurdle moving forward is maintaining the quality standards that we know are acceptable and honestly should be modeled after the macro brewers. They should be modeled after Coors and Miller and Budweiser, and I mean they brew the most consistent beer in the industry, hands down. Is it the best beer? No, we've always said that their process is perfect, but they just have their recipes a little flawed. Yeah, and I truly believe that. Although I'll drink Coors Original until the day I die. It really is about quality and consistency, and I hope that's maintained as to the highest level that we can. And that's a little bit of a worry personally right now for myself, and just with the reputation that craft beer needs to maintain should be focused on quality for sure.
So outside of your own brewery, what is your favorite brewery and why?
Oh, that's a great question. Favorite brewery and why? That's really tough. Honestly, I don't have a standout favorite brewery. Yeah. I just love too many different styles of beers, and I couldn't just put my finger on my favorite beer. I'm a very seasonal beer drinker, so it fluctuates with the seasons. I mean, locally, Odell has never made a bad beer in the history of their company, as far as I'm concerned. They make phenomenal beer. Their IPA is one of my favorite IPAs I've ever had.
The Mercenary, or
what's that?
The Mercenary, or something like one of those.
Just the regular Mercenary is great too. Yeah. But just the regular standard flagship IPA is phenomenal. I mean, it's tough. I mean, obviously a lot of the stuff that Philip Farmstead is making, obviously a handful of Belgian sour producers are at the top of the list. I mean, you've got stuff popping up in the East Coast. You've got, I think Portland, Maine is crushing it right now. You've got Maine Beer Company, Bissell Brothers. They're making phenomenal beers. Trillium is making some fun stuff in Mass. And, we have Crooked Stave right down the road. And obviously Call to Arms is crushing it in Denver. And there's just so much good beer, it's impossible to say. But, we're spoiled. All I'm realizing as I'm talking is that I'm a spoiled beer bitch.
Well, you're in a great spot for. That's one thing we found out about Dallas is a lot of things I don't like about it. But as far as beer goes, we're in kind of a sweet spot because we've got both coasts coming at us now.
Sure.
And we just finally got Bell's a few weeks ago, and so we're kind of in a sweet spot. Whereas I know we were in Kauai last summer. And the beer scene in Hawaii, there's Maui and there's Kona and a couple others, but the craft beer scene is not anywhere near where it could be.
Sure. Yeah.
So last question, IPA stout or some other style as far as your favorite?
Again, that kind of coincides with what I was just saying.
Just being seasonal?
Yeah, super seasonal. I mean, right now, weather's warming up. Joe's is tasting great Pilsner. I've kind of shied away from higher alcohol stuff. I love just drinking volume at this point. So I do love well-made, balanced hoppy session beers.
It seems like that's a big industry shift going on right now towards the sessionable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd much rather. I love the social aspect of sitting down and drinking a bunch of beers, and
rather than just blacking out.
Yeah, I mean, I like that part too.
Yeah.
If it comes after 15 beers instead of 3, that's nice.
Yeah, there's a pub opening up in Portland, Oregon that is called Sessionable.
Oh, nice.
And it's just all session beers, and they're going to have what's called after session, which will be the higher ABV stuff, but like 80% of the menu will be all session beers.
Yeah, that's good too. And I think that's it's also another great point I love about Avery. I mean, we have, I feel, one of the most diverse portfolios going right now. So we've got 3.8% stuff all the way up to 18+%. Yeah. And you can kind of have whatever you're feeling like for that day. And I think that's just kind of what is modeled my drinking behaviors. It's some days, sure, I'll have 3 ounces of tweak, and then I'll have 5 Joes. Like you can just kind of balance it here and there. But I do love hoppy beers. I love malty beers. Again, I really can't put my finger on a particular. I guess so. Desert Island. Yeah. What am I going for? I mean, Jesus, I don't know. I don't even know if I can.
Depends on the moment.
Depends on yeah. I mean, you assume the desert island is hot all the time, right? So, yeah, maybe more of a Pilsner.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough question.
Well, fair enough.
I always have a hard time answering that, unfortunately. But
Fred, thank you. I
just like too much alcohol. Yeah, that's the problem.
It's a good problem to have. Well, thanks for your time. Appreciate it, Fred. Thanks for having me out here to Avery. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, appreciate it. Cheers.
Thanks again to Fred Rizzo, the head brewer at Avery Brewing. That was an awesome opportunity. I'm sorry to all of our P1s that we didn't get enough video. It was like a last-minute deal that I thought, hey, I should actually get some video of this. I mean, people might actually want to see these things. I was afraid,
Well, we never talked about it before, so it's a new idea.
I was also kind of afraid of space limits on the phone, because that's all I had to record with.
Yeah. Plus, we're not very good for video. We're better for audio.
Oh, we definitely have faces for radio.
Yeah.
Although I think we might. I don't even know if we have faces for radio. Not sure we have voices or faces for radio.
I think our voices are very sexy for radio.
We have faces that exist on the planet of the Earth, but
that's true. We have faces for humans.
We have faces for humans.
Yeah,
and that's about it.
So now we're in the Peeps version of the episode.
Yeah. Well, let's right after this, let's get to the potatoes, the Peeps and potatoes version. Let's talk about what I drink.
This is a rapper. I apologize.
Yeah, this is the rapper. Yeah, get your production.
Got to get my jargon out there. Yeah.
This is why we need a producer, Dustin.
That's true. They could have given me the kill sign. That's not what you're talking about right now.
Well, after this, let's get the potatoes, the Peeps, and let's talk about my review of Denver and Colorado and what I drank at Avery Brewing Company.
Sponsored by Barbacoa Apparel. Barbacoa Apparel is a San Antonio-based independent clothing line that caters to Texans and Texans at heart. To find out more about Barbacoa Apparel or to buy your favorite taco tee, go to barbacoaapparel.com.
Have you been to Denver before? I know you're over there busy watching the Masters, but...
No, I've been through Denver, but I haven't actually stayed in Denver.
Have you stayed in Colorado at all?
I've only been in the airport.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. We actually, to do a throwback to high school, one of our band trips was to Denver.
I don't think I went to that.
Right outside of Denver. So I guess I have been to Denver. I apologize. But it was mainly in the suburbs, and we didn't really hang out in the city at all, and we were kids.
I think I missed that one.
Did you?
Yeah.
That was 10th grade.
Yeah, I think I missed that one, yeah.
Okay, and we went to Busch Gardens out there, wherever that is.
I missed that, yeah.
And, we did some event out there. Like I said, it was a long time ago. I've drank a lot since then.
Right.
We also went to the place that has the cliff diving woman that is owned by the same people who used to own Crystal's Pizza. Whatever that place was.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But they have a couple of places. They have one in Denver and they have one somewhere else. So I have been in Denver, but...
Just search for those terms on Yelp and you'll find it.
Yeah, exactly.
Cliff diving woman who owned the place that they used to own Crystal's Pizza.
Right.
which has had 2 locations in Texas. Very limited, very geocentric to Dallas.
Also Burger Street.
Also, by the way, some of the best cheese and breadsticks of all time at Crystal's Pizza.
Burger Street's still around and still good.
Oh, they own. I didn't know they own Burger Street.
They did.
We're going to have to go there and demand some breadsticks and cheese.
And someone to cliff dive in the Burger Street.
Yes, all at the same time.
But yeah, so that's my limited exposure to the Denver area. Again, I was 14 at the time.
Yeah.
I'm a lot older than that now.
Hey, this is Dustin.
I barely remember it. So, but yes, I was there.
Yes. When I was a kid, we used to go Q Vivaldi here, but we used to go skiing all the time.
Oh my God.
We used to go snow skiing all the time as a family.
I forgot how loaded you were.
It was so loaded, yeah. Yeah.
So many pool tables full of laundry.
That was the prior husband for my mother, yeah. This was the physically abusive husband, not the mentally abusive husband.
But he did have skiing in the budget.
Yeah, he did have skiing in Ruidosa and Breckenridge and all that. So we used to go. We would take a skiing trip once a winter to Colorado and New Mexico.
Did you ski, or did you just roll down a mountain?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I skied. I went to ski school.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like the 80s movie Ski School. That I encountered so many hot ladies in the hot tub.
Gosh, that is a brag.
All of us 6 or 7 years old at the time.
Right.
I did actually have the experience of going to ski school and getting altitude sickness.
Oh.
Where you start vomiting and bleeding from the nose, and they had to put me in a 4-wheel drive truck and shoot me down the mountain to a clinic.
Nice.
It was good times.
We can't all have that experience.
Yeah, it's a wonderful experience. Unfortunately for me, I didn't have that this time.
Yeah.
Although I didn't go up into the Rockies and ski this time. So at Avery, they have, no surprise, a bunch of beers that are reserved for their tap room. So some of these are bottled.
They have a lot of beer at Avery?
They have a lot of beer, but you can only get some of these beers at their tap room, and some of which they do actually bottle. Yeah. But again, you can only get those bottles at the tap room. So I did, just for old time's sake, I got the Mephistopheles from their now canceled Demon series, which is a great beer if you've never had a chance to have it. I did manage to pick up a random bottle while I was there.
Nice.
And
call me a wheeler.
It's a great beer. I asked their barkeep Blake why they got rid of the Demon series. He just said they just felt like it was time to move on.
Yeah,
they were revolving and they wanted to do other things. So
it's very old school terminology you issued there too.
The
That's
barkeep?
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, barkeep.
Hey, barkeep. What's the bee's knees around here?
Yeah, exactly. See?
What's the cat's pajamas a beer? See? That's everything we see.
Right.
And we talked about this in the interview, but I had their Tequila Cerberus, which should be, by the time you hear this, it'll probably start getting distributed around the country. It's a tequila barrel-aged sour.
No.
And really, really good, floral, subtle sour. As you know, I'm not a big sour fan, but I like this beer quite a bit.
I like tequila and I like sours, so that should be good.
Yeah, I like tequila when it's not coming out my nose that one time.
Yeah, sure.
I had the Charizard, which I believe is named after a Pokemon, which is a 50-50 stout and porter blend aged in Scotch barrels for 4 months.
I was going to say I wouldn't know.
It's very, very peaty. If you like the peatier scotches, it's like drinking a beer form of those peaty scotches. It's very smoky.
Yeah.
Very smoky. I had this is my favorite one, I think, the Ragnar's Droppa, which was, they have a professor that they hired from Colorado University, and he's a professor of archaeology. So this guy's like the Indiana Jones of beer.
Okay.
He's basically going back, and he's writing a book about these ancient beer recipes.
Oh, okay.
And his name is Travis Ruppa. And so I guess he does dual time at Avery and at the school.
Is he also a Viking?
He is. Travis the Viking, yeah. He's started this Ales of Antiquity series, which is right now exclusive to the brewery. And this particular batch comes from 900 AD, and it's named after Ragnar Lothbrok, the famed Viking, which you can see in the TV series Vikings, which is based on his legends. But the recipe itself is
That's
from...
Plug-Ola right there.
It is. That's pale is what that is. Anyways, the recipe comes from 900 AD, and it's brewed with Scandinavian malts, juniper branches and berries, and baker's yeast.
Okay.
And I don't know how to describe it. It's just very, very little woodsy, little sweet, not overpowering, very, very drinkable. So that's one I hope if they get enough likes for it, I hope they'll release it because it's really, really good.
Okay.
And I actually feel like this whole Ales of Antiquity series, because I had another one, I feel like that would be a really, really good one from maybe to replace the Demon series with, to have another limited series to just, I don't know, just up their credit a little more.
Right.
It's really, really cool. Because was it, what's his name from Dogfish that did the Egyptian beer? Back in the day for the TV show?
Yeah, it was...
Jim Coke?
No. That's the guy from
that's the guy from Sam Adams.
Gosh, I can't think of his name now.
Drawing a blank. I
can see his face, but yeah.
Anyways, on his
we should know that, but
his failed TV series, he did that Egyptian beer.
I don't think it was failed. They quit. He wanted to quit doing it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. I don't think Discovery was okay with him continuing.
Oh, I didn't know he wanted to quit. So another one in this series was the Kansu Mheb, which was based on an Egyptian recipe.
Right.
I also had their upcoming coconut porter, which I think we talked about in the interview, which comes in at 10.8%. Reminds me of like a coconut cream cake, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah.
Like the one from Lakewood that we talked about before, their coconut rum barrel porter it's like very rummy, it's like drinking coconut rum somewhat. Their version of a coconut beer is very different from Lakewood's.
Sam Calagione is
Calagione, yes.
Yeah, that's the guy from Dogfish.
So theirs is a lot more like raw coconut on top of that icing. So it's like that first bite of a coconut cream, coconut cake you'd take, where it's the sprinkles of coconut on top, the raw coconut mixed with the sweetness. Sure. It's a lot like that. It's really, really good. And that will be mass-produced. And then lastly, I had the Tweak, which I did bring a bottle home, which is a 16% Imperial Stout brewed with organic espresso. Yeah. Asian bourbon barrels for 4 months. So this one, as most coffee beers we've had, and most espresso beers we've had, they're very, very raw bean. Like that raw
not
taste.
Sweet, but more raw,
Yeah, this is definitely more of a taint punch of sweetness to it. It's very it's like espresso with a heavy dollop of cream, a couple spoonfuls of sugar.
So it's more like, to give an example, maybe the Brooklyn chocolate, opposed to some of those more dark chocolate beers that have more of the bitter edge.
Yeah. It's got
more of that. Yeah,
it's really, really sweet. It's good,
right?
But it's not at all what I was expecting from an espresso beer, considering what we've had in the past from other brewers.
Right? Yeah, it makes sense.
So that's what I had at Avery, and I was very careful. I had to drive like an hour, so for every glass of beer I got a glass of water. They gave me a carafe, and I think I went through 3.5 carafes of water while I was there.
Yeah,
because I knew I had a long drive ahead of me.
That's a good idea.
I was trying to be careful.
So don't drink and drive, kids.
So let's talk about what we're having today.
Well, I was going to say, in general, what has been your Avery exposure around DFW? Have you had much?
Just what we could get, mass-produced. I have a bottle of vanilla bean, which I haven't cracked yet.
Yeah.
I've had whatever tap here and there. I've had the Mephistopheles a couple of times, and I've had the White Rascal several times, which I always enjoyed.
Now, Avery was a big player when the bottle shop was closing. They had like 2 or 3 shelves of it.
Yeah.
People went for that quick. They had a variety of different Averys. I can't even recall all of them, but they seem to be a popular, a popular craft brew around here in general. I think of them more as, like a Founders or something like that that's been national and been around a while. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe Avery's a little newer than them, but I feel like they're some of the bigger original craft beers.
They're definitely a granddaddy. I feel like they don't have...
like Great Divide or something. I don't know. Someone that's come out of, especially that Colorado area, probably more like Great Divide, that is always a friendly appearance on the shelf, but it's just... Again, much like Great Divide, it's just one I don't get much because I know they're going to be there all the time.
That's fair. Well, I think around here, they suffer from here a lack of energy around the brand.
Sure, yeah.
And I feel like they are really undervalued in the DFW market because we have a lot of access to a lot of their beers.
We do.
A large part of their portfolio, and you don't get the energy around that you do around some other brewers that are undeserved of that.
Well, and I mean, not to rag on them because you just went and interviewed them and they're very nice to let you do that, but maybe they should make some pushes too because honestly they have a lot of competition these days.
Yeah, they do.
5-10 years ago, like we talked about many times, they didn't, but now there's so many local ones that are going to compete with them if nothing else, that they probably do have some worry on that front.
Yeah.
Much like Founders does, much like Ninkasi trying to come in here. I've noticed Ninkasi's cut back on their distribution here a lot. I mean, you only get like 2 or 3 from their portfolio.
That was really disappointing.
And originally you got all of it, and maybe they found because they're not selling as well.
Frankly,
here.
that's also their fault too. They came in and they made a very they dipped their toe in the water, but they didn't fully commit.
They kind of had a popcorn fart of an appearance.
Exactly.
To go back to that reference. Yeah,
exactly. They didn't fully commit like they should have.
Now I will say my exposure to Avery has been very limited. I actually came to this very location we are at today, which is good, friend.
Yeah.
And they had a couple of things on tap. One of them we're having today. One of them I had last week that I don't think they still have, looking at the board. But I tried the vanilla bean that you got, and that was very tasty. They give you small pours of both of these because they're kind of high ABV. But I started out with that one, and then the other one that we're having today is the Uncle Jacob's from 2015.
Which is a 16.7% Imperial Stout.
Yep, they do another 5-ouncer here, kind of like they did with the
$15 for that 5 ounces, by the way.
Yeah, a little pricey, but, it's also 2015, so you're not going to find that anywhere. But, yeah, do you know if they had these on tap in the tap room?
I don't think so.
Okay.
The problem, whatever you want to call it, like, I don't know why they do this, but in their tap room, at least up in the main, they have like a 2-level tap room. Down below was by the patio, and the upstairs is more of like a full-fledged restaurant.
Okay.
So I was up in the full-fledged restaurant area, and they had one barkeep that all she did was they had these chalkboards that they would put their taps on, and she was constantly, like, not say constantly, but I think 2 or 3 times within the time I was there, she erased, and there's one chalkboard on the other side with different beers on the other side, and she would erase one side and rewrite everything. So I don't know if that was based on tap availability or what it was, but I could never see the complete list at one time while I was there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Got you.
So I think the entire time while I was drinking beer after the interview, she was doing one chalkboard that entire time. I was there for probably an hour and a half, and she didn't get finished by the time I was done.
Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, they have a ton of stuff on tap.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I never saw the complete list, just what they had in their printed menu, which wasn't everything.
Okay. So
let's get to Uncle Jacob's, though. Do you like the Uncle Jacob's?
Yeah, quite a bit.
It's big and boozy.
It's very big, very
boozy and bold.
It's got a little bittersweet taste to the back end of it.
Yeah.
A lot of booze on the front end of it. It's very tasty. I like it a lot.
When it warms up, like I know you just got yours fresh. It's got a lot of molasses flavor to it on the back end, and the booze really comes out when it's warmed up some up front.
It kind of reminds me, because I recently had this too, of the Deschutes the Abyss. It's got kind of that molasses, dark chocolatey, woody, not woody, but kind of grainy taste, if that makes any sense. It's kind of
like cereal grains.
Yeah. It's just a little. It sounds like it's harsh, but it works with the blend.
Yeah.
I think this is very similar to the Abyss, and I love the Abyss. So I have no complaints about it.
I managed to pick up a bottle of the Brandy Barrel Abyss while I was in Denver.
Oh, okay.
They just had it sitting out on the shelf like nobody's business. I mean, it was $20 a bottle, but I was like, hey, get it all in Dallas. Like,
all we can find is the regulars.
Just sitting out here. So I, of course, got one. I already had the Scotch barrel at home, so I decided not to. I can only ship so much back home.
Yeah, sure.
So I had to be very, because I think I bought 6 bottles at Avery.
Yeah.
While I was there, and then I tried to pack everything. I couldn't fit everything in my suitcase.
Sure.
So I had to drink a couple of wilds at the house.
So you had to bum stuff a couple of them to bring them back.
No, I butt chugged them.
Oh, okay.
And then I released it back into the bottles when I got home.
And sealed it again.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Let's talk about Denver. And this is not necessarily going to be. There's some beer talk in here, but not a ton necessarily.
Yeah. So you can end the episode now if all you want is beer talk.
If you don't want to hear about me complaining about Denver,
this is the half Pete part.
Yeah. So we were staying in Golden, which is the famed home of Coors Brewing Company.
Yep.
What are they called? Coors Beer Company, something like that. Anyways, their factory is there. I actually was interested in doing a tour just seeing a mass production scale.
Yeah.
But they weren't offering tours while we were there.
Oh.
It was disappointing.
That's weird. I figured they do that every day.
But we were staying in Golden because if we ever decide to move to Colorado, which at this point is very doubtful, we were interested in more the small towns like Evergreen and Genesee and places like that. So that's why we were staying in Golden outside Denver. We have no interest in Denver. So I will say that I think Denver's got a lot going for it in a lot of ways. I think it's really good if you're a single young person. It's probably the town for you. But it's like a blend.
You're not a swinging single, though.
I'm not. At
least not public.
I'm very old for 36.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not single.
He's 36 going on 75.
Exactly. I'm already in a windsuit today. As we talked about last night, Javi had a crawler of KBS, and I was like, I'm already turning for tonight.
He's like, it's 8:10 at night on a Friday.
I have a kitchen to clean. So
right, exactly.
Which I did. None of those were lies. I just didn't feel like putting on pants. Look, I would have had to put on pants.
Very old man.
Yeah. Would have had to get out of my velvet robe, and this wasn't going to happen. So Denver itself reminds me, I'd never been to Denver proper before. Denver itself reminded me of a blend of New Orleans and Austin. It's not a bad town. It's just not, for someone of my age, it's just... And wealth, yeah. It's just not right for me.
Yeah.
It's like the houses are kind of shotgun, like New Orleans houses are. A lot of them are, they seem to be, at least from exteriors. It's not like I walked down the street and walked through every house.
I was going to say, how many people let you in?
But they're all crammed together. There's 0 lot lines. And I will say that we weren't in the suburbs. We were in Denver proper.
Sure.
So we went to Denver proper in the Rhino District are the 2 areas we went to.
Oh, okay.
And
a lot of rhinos running around?
Yeah, a lot of rhinos, yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
But
I wouldn't like that much. It feels very destructive.
Yeah. But nobody kept up their yards. Nobody decided to keep up their houses. Like, everything seemed to be, all the houses seemed to be greatly in disrepair. Whereas in New Orleans, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of sketchy areas, but you can tell, at least in, like, the Garden District and places like that, people are keeping up their houses.
It's like the Cedars of Dallas or something?
Yeah.
Things in total disrepair?
We did a lot of walking around. It was very disappointing.
Yeah.
Like, some people even took the time, you could tell they took the time to paint their houses kind of crazy at one point, but then they decided, we're never going to do this again.
Right.
So everything was cracked, and the yards were, I don't know.
They don't care, man. They got a lot of weed to smoke and a lot of beer to drink, okay?
So I will say part of what affected our attitude, I think, was the weather was terrible the entire time we were there. Except we had 2 days of sunshine, and one of those I went to Boulder.
Yeah.
And then the other one, I can't remember what happened, but that was our last day there. So we finally got to Evergreen. But, we plan to do all this.
Did you also go to Everwood?
Like that. Actually, the TV show Everwood was based on the town of Evergreen.
Oh, okay. Was a young Chris Pratt there?
Yes. Just constantly saying asshat over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. I will say, it reminds me a lot of Austin. The houses remind me of New Orleans, but the vibe reminds me of Austin.
Okay.
Just kind of got that musically, that kind of off-kilter music vibe to it, which is good. It's just that Austin does it better.
I like Austin.
And I don't say that being as like pride of Texas guy. It's just true. I mean, despite Austin's traffic problems, Austin is better. It just has
it's okay to not utterly hate the state you live in, and think it has some positives.
That's what I'm saying. Is like Austin just does it better. For I don't know what it is exactly. It seems
you still get hip cred even if you say Texas has some positives.
And like I said, I think it's great. I think Denver's great for a lot like Austin is good for young single people.
Yeah, sure.
The another big downside of Denver is there are no parking lots anywhere. Everybody parks on the street. When I'm serious, like there are no parking lots downtown for anything. Everybody parks on the curb. So parking is a son of a bitch.
So you're saying they should bulldoze Paradise and put up a parking lot all over Denver?
Thank you, Jimmy Buffett. Yes.
Yeah. That's Counting Crows, sir. Let's get it right.
Oh, was that Counting Crows?
Yes.
Oh, well, screw me. I don't even think that's Counting Crows. I think they did a cover of it.
What do you want to bet me? The Counting Crows did the song.
All right, stop the show. Boom in your face, Joni Mitchell did it, not the Counting Crows.
Originally.
I said they did a cover.
I just said they did it. I didn't say they did the original.
No, now you owe me 3 KBSs as a result.
I will give you your leftover fried green beans.
You owe me 3 KBSs now.
Not the deal we made.
That's exactly what we made. And you owe me an air conditioning bill.
That's a joke for one.
I will say that beer-wise, we did not get to as many breweries as I wanted to go to.
Yeah.
I was promised more breweries, and we didn't get that. I only got to Avery, and I got to one other called Black Shirt, which was interesting because we're big fans of locally Petticolas' Velvet Hammer, which is a red ale. Their brewery is entirely based on red ales.
That sounds like a delicious brewery.
And I did bring one of theirs back. According to their article, their self-promotion in their bathrooms, Men's Journal said they had possibly the best red ale on the planet.
Oh, wow.
So, and I haven't tried the base red ale yet, so maybe we'll do that someday. I do have a crowler red ale.
We should let Michael know.
Yeah.
He's got some stiff competition out there. Right. That's the best red ale on the planet.
It was cool. It was a cool little brewery. It was in the Rhino District. It's out where Epic is over there, and I think Crooked Stave, that's another one I want to go to and I didn't get a chance to. So it was so sad. But that's all I got to while I was there.
Right.
I did drink a lot of good beer because we went to the beer store and picked up just random stuff.
Sure.
I can't tell you what to drink right now because I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, you're probably high while you were drinking it.
Yeah. One other place I went to I would recommend if you do go to Denver is there's a restaurant called Beatrice in Woodley. And apparently somebody designed this restaurant to look like someone's cabin in the woods, except it's like a deconstructed cabin, sort of. It's got that feel, but it's like a hipster modern take on it.
I was going to say, so it's very hipster.
Yeah, but it's got really cool decor. Yeah. It's like all the if you go to everything's wood.
Yeah.
And if you go to the bar, the shelves where all the liquors are stocked are the buttresses for the shelves are chainsaws.
Does it have any B. Arthur memorabilia?
Yeah, it's all
the most famous Beatrice.
Yeah, it was originally named Beatrice Arthur and Woodley.
Right. Okay.
Beatrice Arthur and Shailene Woodley from Big Little Lies. That was the full name, but it's like it's a little too cumbersome.
Right.
So we decided to shorten it.
Just Beatrice.
Now it's not really a beer place. They didn't have a lot of beer on stock, but they have some really. If you're into craft cocktails, that's your place to go. And I had pate for the first time there, and that was really good. Very delicious.
Oh, nice.
And I will say there's couple of things. So we went to a Regina Spektor concert.
You will say there's a couple things.
I will say there's a couple more things I just want to hit on.
Okay.
Went to a Regina Spektor concert while we were there. I don't know if are you familiar with her music at all?
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah. I'm loosely like. There's a few of her songs I like on the radio, and
I feel like she's the basis for the character in Bob's Burgers, where they do a food truck and they go to a festival, and the girl talks about her flaming crotch or whatever.
Oh, she's also the one that does the Orange is the New Black song.
Yeah.
So,
but that's like a more upbeat. She's not normally that upbeat.
No. She's very like cerebral pop.
Yeah.
But I say pop, it's like piano pop, classically inspired. A lot of discordant, a lot of tempo changes.
Yep.
I gotta say, we went to the Fillmore in Denver to say, and I gotta say, I've never seen a crowd so disinterested in the band they were saying.
Is it as good as the Fillmore in Plano?
No, it's not. No, it's actually a cool venue.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot bigger. It's like a proper concert venue.
Gotcha.
But I will say, there were a lot of people in this venue, and like packed elbow to ass, as Stefan would say. And I've never seen so much disinterest in a concert.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it was almost exclusively, young hipster white people.
Yeah.
And like there were a few people that were dancing into it. There were a lot of drunk, annoying people.
So you're saying they should bulldoze that and put up a parking lot?
They should. Joni Mitchell, that's right. But there was a high level of disinterest, even within the group that I was attending the concert with.
That drug you to the concert.
She didn't play any of her good songs until the encore.
Yeah.
Which I'm a
Did she play the Orange is the New Black theme?
Actually, she didn't. I don't think she did. So yeah, when the encore, she finally played all of her good songs. The rest of it, I was bored out of my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's right for some people, and a lot of people like it, but that is not a concert for me by any stretch.
Fair enough.
Two other things I'll note. Denver, every other guy has a man bun.
Oh.
Every other guy. I've never seen so many man buns. I never more wanted to have a machete, go behind and chop every single one off. That's not just hair jealousy. It's just man buns are stupid.
I was going to say, you could grow a man bun if you wanted to.
Unless you're a samurai, you're not allowed to have a man bun. It's just not allowed.
Well, yeah, that's culturally acceptable there.
Yeah. You should, if you want to have a man bun, you should have to go through samurai school or whatever that entails.
Yeah.
And carry around a katana all the time.
Samurai school, yeah.
And avenge people.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And then the other thing I'll note is, just like every other guy has a man bun, every other person drives a Subaru there. Either they're a Forester or an Outback there. I guarantee Denver is Subaru's like number one market.
That is a hipster outdoorsman vehicle, though, so it makes sense they have that.
It's just, I could barely, the person we were with, she has a Subaru Forester.
Yeah.
Gray, and it was hard to like pick them out of a lineup. I'm like, I don't know which car is which. I was trying to park. She saved me a parking place because, again, no stupid parking lots anywhere.
Sure, yeah.
Even the businesses, a lot of them don't even have parking lots.
No, that's weird.
She was trying, I was like, where the hell am I supposed to go? I can't figure out which Subaru is which.
Right.
In front of her apartment building.
Yep.
And then I will say that Denver also has to be the central location for America's favorite game show, Hipster or Homeless.
Sure, yeah.
Because it's really hard to tell the difference there.
Did you go out there on the street and ask?
Yeah, I would have failed if I were playing.
Are you a hipster or are you homeless?
If I were guessing, it would have been almost impossible.
Yeah,
to tell.
Fair enough.
Which is an annoying fashion trend.
Yeah,
it feels like they're almost making fun of the homeless in some ways.
Yeah, probably so.
So that's my summer in Denver. I would never ever move to Denver. Like Austin, I would consider moving to the outskirts.
Sure.
Denver is. Again, it's great for a certain sect of people. It is not for me. It is not my. It's not my bag.
Yeah.
By any stretch, I have no appeal for that city at all, except for the breweries themselves.
Yeah, sure.
Denver proper, has no appeal for me.
But we can get most of the brewery stuff here, so you don't have to live.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Denver, one thumb down, one thumb sideways.
We do 1 out of 5 ratings here.
Avery, 5 stars up, 1 thumb sideways, and Uncle Joe's 2 stars. Way up to the sky in your face.
Man, I'd give the Uncle Joe's probably a 3.75 out of 5.
No, this is 2 out of 2. This is a 2 out of 2 scale, not 2 out of 5.
No, we do 5 stars.
I just said I'm doing a modified 2 out of 2 scale.
I'm going to do a regular rating because I'm 50% of the show, and that's what I'm going to rate it. I'm going to say 3.75 out of 5.
As the official podcaster of the show.
You are one of the 2 podcasters of the show, yes.
I'm modifying your scale for this one episode.
You're officially half of the show.
To say, out of a 2-point scale, it gets a 2. Flaming.
Well, good for you.
Up.
For me, 3.75 out of 5.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks for listening to Brew Bloods. Thanks for your support. This is episode 95. If you want to listen to one of our...
That was thank you for the support, not thank you sport.
No, thank you support. I want to thank everybody in the sport channels of the United States.
Yeah.
Thank you, sports. From people who stock shelves, to the police and firemen, to our armed service, who put their lives on the line every single day.
I thought you said sport. So
no, I said
like
support.
ESPN and Fox Sports
well, thanks to sports as well.
Yeah.
Sports.
There you go.
If you listen to one of our other shows, we do a random show called The Break Room. You can find that at breakroom.tv.
That's the only other show.
We've done other shows, Thumbs of Fury, which has been canceled.
Yeah.
You can find those. Good luck.
And no other current shows.
If you do us a favor, release review on iTunes. It doesn't help you, but it does help other people find this show. Check us out on...
It makes you feel good.
It does.
Rating a show.
That's right. They have a solid rating scale there, unlike this
Exactly.
show. Check us out on the social networks, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you have any feedback on the show, you can email us at brewbloodshow@gmail.com, or you can call us at 469-573-BEER. That's 469-573-2337.
I think I'm going to eat all your fried green beans. I hope you don't mind.
All right. We can butt chug those, too.
Yep.
All right. We'll catch you guys next time on Brew Bloods. For Dustin, I'm Mark.
Mark, I'm Dustin. Probst.
Probst.